Greek mythology, the gift that keeps on giving. We've already seen a couple Monster High characters that are the children of Greek mythology monsters. This includes Ca Cupid, the daughter of Eros, who has the abilities of love matching and is a super cool radio host. Manitor, the son of a Minotaur, with the abilities of extreme rage. Iris Clops, the daughter of a Cyclops, with the abilities of low depth perception. And also River Styx, the daughter of the River Styx? Well, actually she's the daughter of the Grim Reaper, which isn't in Greek mythology, but the River Styx is. Oh, and how did I not lead with the one and only Deus Gorgon, who is of course the son of Medusa, making him half Gorgon and half human. And of course, his cousin Viperine is also a Gorgon, but that's not important. Now, when people think of Greek mythology, of course the first thing to think about is Zeus, Hades and Poseidon, but that's too predictable and boring, and we have enough fishy creatures at Monster High. That being said, for a second imagine if Persephone and Hades could have a child that has a super cute floral design, but withers everything they touch, kind of like an anti-Venus McFlytrap. I could just imagine a really cute enemies to lovers story here. I think the gloom and bloom looks would really suit a character like this well. I can also imagine them being beast friends with Twilight and Howleen, and of course they would have a mini Cerberus as a pet. Another big part of Greek mythology is the nymphs. They come in so many different forms and are typically associated with different elements, having specialties in things such as the harvest or water. I just think that these fairy-like creatures would be super magical and interesting, as well as having a lot of beautiful looks. I think a few of them would have a sibling-like relationship similar to Toralei, Persephone and Meowlady, which for some reason my notes autocorrected to Newport. Anyway, moving on. I think characters like that would be quite cute and cheeky, using the elements to mess with other monsters. Next is the Phoenix. A fiery, feathery, feisty monster would be absolutely incredible. The character could have a similar flame head to Heath Burns and bird-like wings like a Vea Trotter, which would be super cool. As well as having a red and orange colour scheme, which we haven't really seen from many characters, especially after the heartbreaking redesign of Howleen Wolf. A strong character like this would definitely be one to step on Cleo's toes, but I think they'd warm up to each other like she did with Claudine. Would it be weird to have a phoenix as a pet if you are a phoenix? And maybe a character that is known for repeatedly going up in flames shouldn't have a pet at all. Speaking of Heath, who is a creature of fire, similar to the sun god Ilios, on the opposite end would be a child of the moon god Selene. A closed-off character that keeps to themselves and resides in the shadows, wearing dark clothing to blend in and not be noticeable. A reserved character that prefers to just observe, and I am now just describing Twilight, aren't I? Next up is Artemis. A strong, confident, athletic character with a strength in archery would be really empowering to see. Artemis is the goddess of wild animals, among other things, so could potentially have the abilities to communicate with animals like Jane Doolittle, and thus being good friends with her. Artemis is also the daughter of Zeus, so her child could possibly have lightning abilities, and if they ended up being enemies of Frankie, I could imagine them throwing a few bolts at them here and there. She is often associated with bears, which I think would be a really cute pet to have. And also, let's just agree that the child would be born from mud, in a Wonder Woman sort of way, since Artemis is sworn to chastity. And how about Orpheus? No, not Morpheus from the Matrix, but Orpheus, an incredible musician and poet who is said to be so talented that he can make the trees dance. A child of him would basically be a combination of Venus and operetta, which I have seen people ship before. I think it would be super unique to have a character like that around Monster High. I think a really cool villain would be the child of Nemesis, who is literally the god of vengeance, and enacts retribution against those who succumb to hubris. This sounds like the type of character that would want to take over the human realm for all the hate they've given monsters. But of course, Frankie and the ghouls would see the good in the humans and would change their perspective and would end up being one of the new ghouls at Monster High. And I probably just described one of the Monster High movie plots without realizing. That being said, I think it would be a super cool character. Nemesis is often portrayed as having wings, and Monster High characters with wings are my absolute favourite. She is typically associated with a goose, which I think would be a super funny pet to have, especially in contrast to her character. Geese are actually terrifying creatures, so it honestly makes a lot of sense. We have already seen large characters such as Gulliope, but why not go bigger and include giants? A giant creature would definitely have trouble fitting in at Monster High, quite literally, but I know the ghouls would do everything they could to make them feel welcome. A character like this was portrayed in The Amazing World of Gumball in a giant called Hector, who I think would be a great addition to Monster High. A creature of such a size would of course intimidate some monsters, but would end up being one of the sweetest characters to date. Next up is Hypnos, the god of sleep, who has the ability to make you forget anything. I'm sure they'd be a monster favourite at Monster High for making the teachers forget about any tests or homework coming up. Being so sleepy all the time, Hypnos has wings coming out of his face to prevent him from drifting off, which I think he would pass down to his child, making a super unique looking character. He also has the ability to make others fall asleep, which could come in handy when losing a basketball game. He is known for carrying a poppy stem, so I think having a poppy as a pet would be super adorable. Hermes, the messenger god with the gift of super speed. They would be an upbeat character, zooming around everywhere, taking multiple classes at once. Being the child of the messenger god, they would be good friends with Spectra, helping her find and write about all the drama happening at Monster High. They would of course have the classic winged boots, which would look amazing. The god is often associated with the tortoise, which I think is an extremely fitting pet. Asteria is known to be the starry one. A child of hers would be a glimmery creature who stands up for monsters being bullied. Her character could potentially control light, creating fun spectacles to make others feel happy. Asteria turned into a bird, so this new monster could potentially look more bird-like than like a star. But I prefer a shiny star look, with the bird as a pet. Now, the final creature isn't really a creature, but a thing. Every Greek person has at least one in their household, and yes, I am Greek, and that is the evil eye. Now again, this isn't an actual creature, but kind of a little stone that we wear on jewellery or hang in places to ward off evil. But I think it would be really unique to have a deep blue character covered in eyeballs that maybe prevented the ghost-type characters from being near them. Now that I'm saying this, I just remembered Argos, the character, not the shop, that is a creature covered in 100 eyes, so that would make a lot more sense than having a stone for a parent. Would it be weird to have an eyeball for a pet? Or maybe just like a floating pair of sunglasses? Overall, I think the monsters we already have inspired by Greek mythology are super unique and interesting, and I would love to see more of them since there are so many to choose from and are all so different and special. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.